Today on Geneva Says, we're catching up. We're talking about some things going on here in DC, and I'm going to share what I'm currently obsessed with. Welcome back. This is Brittany Geneva back with another episode of Geneva Says. So excited to be back after a much needed, well-needed break, but I'm back. We're here. Woo! Wait, is it still playing? Oh, Lord. No, stop. Okay. Excited. I'm back. Really happy to get back into the groove after a month off. Let's catch up a little bit. First, I have to start with just the Virgin Voyages cruise I went on with my mom was absolutely amazing. We went the last week of May, like Memorial Day week, sailed out of Rome and then did like a Mediterranean trip. That was like the southern coast of Italy and then France, and then it ended in Spain. And it was just absolutely beautiful. Such a great, like Virgin is a great cruise line, really nice ship, nice cabin. Food was nice. Like I really have a lot of great things to say. I made a very detailed video, a set of videos that'll be coming out soon that goes into great detail about the cruises and the actual destinations that we stopped at, the different ports and excursions and stuff. And it was just really lovely. So TLDR, it was great. I loved it. I highly recommend it. And it was very Black. That was the most wonderful, pleasant surprise. It was a very Black cruise with a lot of Black people from America. So that was great. That was great. Like, I've been in my kind of like sporty girl era recently. Like I joined a new kickball team in March and started playing 2 leagues at the same time. So there's like a co-ed league with this team and a women's league. And I was just like, I looked up one day and I'm like, why am I playing kickball like 100 times a week? But it's really been great. I've really been enjoying getting to know new people, getting to, build up a new skill. But here's the part that I really want to share because I don't gatekeep. For my sisters out there, fuck the Run Club. Okay. Fuck what they said about the Run Club, baby. The fine niggas is at kickball. Okay. Especially you live in the DMV. Join Goombay. Join Goombay Adventures Kickball today and meet the fine nigga there. Okay? I'm not doing Run Club. The Run Club propaganda never worked on me because I'm not a runner. Like, I'm not running, and that's the whole activity. You got to run during kickball, but then you stop, but I'm not running, and then that's all we did for like hours. So I needed something else, and I'm like, I want to be active. I want to meet new people. I want to be outside. I want to do a thing. I decided on kickball because I knew a few people who played with this league in particular. And it's been great. Like I've loved it so much. And it is like building my confidence. Like it's been wonderful. And the niggas are fine. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. It's a Black league. So that matters a lot. There's a lot of kickball leagues, but this is a Black kickball league. So if you don't live in the DMV, so you might have Goombay because I think Goombay is in other cities, but if not, just look for the Black Kickball League. We need to start that propaganda. Bye to the Run Club. Hello to the Kickball League. Okay. But yeah, it's been really great. And it's a really good way to get to know people. I know a lot of times people as adults, especially if you're moving to new cities or you're just trying to, expand your network, a lot of times people have a hard time making new friends as they get older. But I think this is a really good way to do it. Anything where you have to keep coming back again and again. You can't do it just like going to a one-off event or a one-off thing. You have to find something and join it and then keep coming back again and again. And that is how you will make the friends and the connections as you get older. So that's happening for me now, and I highly recommend it. Now let's get right into our topics for today. Geneva says, I wish these people would just leave me alone. Where do I begin? So obviously I live in DC, and right now, actually, by the time this comes out, we will know who won the mayoral primary, which is coming up on Tuesday. And in DC, the primary is the election because the Democrat is always going to win the general. So the primary is really the election. And the incumbent mayor, Muriel Bowser, is stepping down. And now we have new, brand new candidates coming up. And the race is really between Kenya McDuffie and Janice Lewis George, who are both Democrats, but Janice Lewis George is much more progressive, maybe more, in the Mamdani, sort of mold, right? But I really don't know a lot about either of them. And I've been trying to do the research, trying to find out more information. Like I wasn't necessarily familiar with their political careers, even as a DC resident, because they were not, I believe they were both council members, but not of my ward. So I've been trying to do the research, which one has been really hard because all the information out there is put out there by the campaign or by their camps. And I'm like, where's just like the third party reporting? And then all of the news coverage is of the election. So it's like how much money they raised or how they're doing in the polls. And I'm like, I need a trusted voice who doesn't necessarily have a dog in the fight to chime in. So I'm putting that out to folks, for future reference, because it's going to be too late by the time you see this. But, sometimes even politically engaged people need more information. I think it just sort of speaks to like where we are. Like I've talked about this on a past episode of my podcast, just how our media landscape is shifting to where like finding good, reliable information is getting harder and harder. And I've actually had a really hard time finding information to help inform how I vote this election. I've had multiple people reach out to me. I had somebody reach out to me last week to say, Brittany, I know you're really politically engaged. Can you give me advice on how to vote in this election? And I'm like, sis, I wish I could. I honestly wish I could, but I'm like, I don't even have the amount of information that I wish I had about, unbiased, like what should I know about these candidates? And like multiple people I'm talking to are like, the election's like on Tuesday and this is now Saturday. And people are like, I don't necessarily know who I'm voting for. And so it's been a very difficult sort of time to sort of figure out which way to go. The thing that generally seems to be true about these candidates is that Janice Lewis George is very progressive. Like I said, more of maybe like a Mamdani type. But my concern is that maybe she's a little too pie in the sky and not pragmatic enough. Like, can she get things done? And then Kenya McDuffie is more like in the mold of Bowser, who is our current mayor, and more moderate and maybe a little too moderate and maybe a little too establishment, but he seems like he would know how to get things done. He's been around a long time and knows how to work the system. So that's kind of the tension that I'm having of just like, and this applies beyond the mayoral race as we think about national politics, state politics, thinking about, even the direction of the Democratic Party and those types of things. It's like, do we want the super duper progressives who have a really fresh new vision, but seem like it would be very challenging to get that vision done? Or somebody who like is steeped in the system and really knows how to navigate, but probably isn't going to move us forward in a very progressive way. And I think that is the whole entire like Democratic Party challenge. And I think it's well represented in this DC mayoral race of just like, I don't know which way is better for DC. And then now you have Donald Trump, and this goes to me saying, can y'all just leave us alone? We're here in DC trying to figure our stuff out. And I don't need Donald Trump now chiming in saying, well, if Janice Lewis George wins, then we're going to interfere with DC, basically. Because what we have to remember is that DC is not a state. So we don't have a governor, we have a mayor. And that is a lot less power and sovereignty than a governor. So at any point, the federal government can interfere with how DC runs itself, but they haven't very much up until now because of something called home rule. But that's like the honor system. We think y'all good, so we'll leave you alone. But that can be overturned at any time. And we know this orange man has no recognition of rules and customs. So he'll do whatever he fucking feels like doing. And if he feels like coming into DC and saying, I need to wield more power, or I need to call on Congress to wield more power, he'll do it. And then what? And then what happens for us? So unfortunately, as much as I would not want that to factor into my voting, I have to wonder, would it be better to vote for McDuffie because perhaps he will be able to get along better with the administration or have a little bit more of a relationship that doesn't cause the administration to do the things that Trump's talking about doing. So it's really hard. It's really hard to sort of navigate all those things. And Bowser was under immense scrutiny, and people were really coming for her because she was kind of kissing the ring a little bit with Trump, especially with the whole National Guard stuff. But I'm like, y'all, she has a very fine tightrope that she has to walk because she's not a governor. She's a mayor. And that is just, I can't emphasize enough how different that is in terms of like what it actually means for like the amount of independence you can have. Like DC is a city, not a state. And if the administration comes in and says, we don't like how y'all running shit, we've already been impacted. We've already had $1 billion with a B taken away from our budget. The budget, I believe, is $4 billion. So that's like 1/4 of the shit was taken away with the big, beautiful bill. And then we've also had the federal government intervene with laws that have been created by our city council to basically say it's not tough enough on crime. So we've already had that happening during this administration, and that could just get 10 times worse. So I feel like this DC mayoral race is very consequential, and I just wish I felt more confident about who to vote for. But by the time this airs, I will have voted for somebody and there will be a winner. So we'll figure that out and we'll go from there and talk more about it. But it is just a reminder of how we still have, it's difficult to sort of navigate like, yes, I'm a Democrat, I'm on the left, but that looks a lot of different ways. And how can we, make the best political decisions for our future while also keeping in mind that we don't want to just maintain the status quo. The status quo sucks. The establishment sucks. So I want to move us forward, but at the same time, I don't want to put us in a situation where we're being targeted more by the crazy nigga down, I was going to say down 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, but he don't ever be there, down Mar-a-Lago. So I just, a lot to think about, and an unfortunate like factors that we have to consider, because I wish I could just think about what's best for DC within DC and not have to even consider him. But alas, here we are. So that's the first man I want to leave me alone. The second man I want to leave me alone is Elon fucking Musk. Can we just okay. So SpaceX is coming out with their IPO. By the time this airs, we may have a better sense of like how that went, but they're going public with this massive $1 trillion valuation, which is crazy. And the reason why I want to be left alone, or like why that matters, is because it's like, this is now, I don't want to have anything to do with Elon Musk. Like, I really don't. This man has ruined lives, right? He came in, and by the way, all of this going public and trying to make SpaceX this huge company that's doing all these different things beyond just like rockets, right? SpaceX is like very big and goes in a lot of different directions. I guarantee you this effort was helped by the things that he did while he was creating efficiency, which, by the way, no efficiency to be found. Efficiency is not in the room with us. But while he was gutting agencies and doing different things during that first year of the presidency, I'm sure he set himself up to be in a better position for this moment right now, where he can go public with $1 trillion valuation, and the NASDAQ is going to just let the stock be counted immediately instead of the normal 3-month waiting period. All these things are connected. And I'm frustrated with media who is not reporting that, who is just talking about the IPO without talking about the fact that this man ran crazy through government for 9 months or however long DOGE existed, ruined people's lives, killed people. People are dead. The Ebola outbreak that's happening now is worse because we don't have US aid. Elon Musk contributed to that. So we should never be talking about Musk without talking about that. Okay. But somehow people are just such a fucking fangirl of his that they just talk about him like he's this genius when he's just a piece of shit who has audacity, which is most CEOs. And all he does is just the damn little filing that they have to do when they put out the IPO was like, if we don't go to space, we're going to end up like the dinosaurs, and we must have interplanetary connections in order to further the human race. Shut up. Like, he's just big talk. He's just talking big. And people are like, wow, what a genius. Wow. What a genius. Tesla's in the toilet. Twitter/X doesn't make any money. Where's the genius at? You know, the most genius part of his business, the damn Wi-Fi. What's it called? Space Link or Starlink. Satellites that so you can connect to the internet if you live in a rural area. Congrats. Genius. Anyways, when it comes to Elon Musk, when it comes to SpaceX shit, like, I'm just frustrated that he was able to set himself up for this moment right now and basically use government to be able to like make this happen. And now I have a 401k and I don't know, wherever it's invested in, I'm sure SpaceX is going to be a part of that portfolio. Can I go in there? Hey, finance experts, can I go in there even if I have a 401k? And can I say like, but not that one? You know what I mean? Because I don't want to invest my money with him. Tell me if I can go in and just specifically say, please don't invest my money with this one company. Is that possible? Even if it's like in the indexes or whatever. I'm saying words that I don't fully understand, but the point I'm trying to make is I don't ever want to give Elon Musk money. So I feel like that's like gonna happen because of this IPO, which is very frustrating. But I just want him to like stop trying to be this like super, I don't know, like visible hip CEO. Just go do the shit, leave us alone, do what you got to do. And I'm just going to stay as far away as I possibly can. And I really want media to not be reporting on him as if he's some genius when he actually is like responsible for the destruction of a lot of people's lives, the destruction of key economic drivers here where I live in the DMV. Like, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. A lot. I just want to exist. It's like, I want me and my people to be able to just exist here in the DMV and just live and thrive the best way we can. And it's like, we have these billionaire, crusty, dusty, janky ass white men impacting our lives. Like, what are you doing here? Like, leave me alone. Like, go away from me with this. It's just like, both of them are just like in that space of, interference. And that's what ever since this latest, administration, that's the role that I feel like they've just been playing. It's just interfering and fucking shit up. So that's my rant on that. Fuck SpaceX and Elon Musk. And last but not least, I have to share what I am currently obsessed with. And you already know, if you know me, you already know what I'm going to say. It is Love Island. The best, worst TV I've ever watched, you guys. Like, this show is so crazy and good. I'm not going to go too deep into it because I have a whole series of videos that I am creating with Misha, who was the first guest on the podcast, probably about a couple months ago now. She and I have a series on TikTok and Instagram where we talk all about Love Island. It's called Villa Talk. So please be sure to watch that. But I'll just say, if you are judging the show or if you feel like, oh my God, why is everybody so into it? Please just give it a chance because it's actually such a smart show because it's not trying to be reality television. Like it's a game show. It is like very contrived, unnatural situations that these people are in. But in their response to the situations and the way that they navigate and connect with people throughout the process is like helping them find who, their partner could be. And so it's just it's almost like this social experiment in a way. And then they do a good job of sort of finding a good cross section of people from different walks of life and different races and all of that. I think they do an exceptional job, much better than a lot of other reality shows, and especially a lot of other dating shows. They do an exceptional job of finding Black women of all different sort of like shades and types. There's a lot of different types of Black women, all beautiful and all different. And I really appreciate that because a lot of times it's just like, okay, we filled our quota of like the one light-skinned Black girl when there's really obviously a lot more to us than that. And even the men of color, the Black men this season, I want them to mix it up a little bit more, which we're only like a week and a half in, so there's a lot of time left. But generally speaking, they do a good job with the Black men as well. So I just appreciate that. I think they do a good job casting Black people. And I just think it's like, it actually is a lot more relatable than you would think that it would be because of just the different types of people, how they're reacting to the situations. I think you can sort of see yourself like in certain situations. So I actually just really think it's like a fun, good show. And I think, especially with everything going on in the world and with all of the constant heaviness that we're having to deal with on like, I was going to say a daily basis. It's even more than that, a minutely basis. What we deserve some nice escapism television, which I think Love Island definitely is. So I think it's a great show. If you've been watching it, please let me know. And definitely, like I said, be sure to check in on my TikTok and my Instagram for the Love Island Villa Talk series with me and Misha. And with that, short and sweet today, guys. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'll also be having my Love Island Villa Talk every day on TikTok and Instagram. And we have the Virgin Voyages cruise vlog content coming soon as well. So there's a lot going on. Please follow me on social media to make sure you don't miss it. I'm Brittany Geneva on all of the things. And I definitely look forward to talking to you again soon.